When I started this channel, I thought all I would be doing is, instead of just taking still photographs, I would catch a few videos and use YouTube as a repository for these little short clips of little trips away with the family or special events and so on and so forth. And I didn't plan to grow the channel at all. It was just literally a case of I'll put it up public so my friends and family could access the videos, and maybe other people too. And then in 2020, when the lockdowns happened, I decided to do a bit of a, it didn't start as a series, but it became a series called, I think I called it the Lockdown Diaries, when we were restricted on what we could do and we'd go out for walks just to kill a bit of time and get some fresh air. And I'd make some videos because I felt it was a historical event. And because of that, it'd be nice to have something like a bit of a time capsule kind of thing going on. And then I got into talking about music simply because I'd seen other people doing it, and I thought, well, I've got some good experiences. I'm of an age where I saw a lot of the major bands back in the day before they were big or before they disappeared. And so the channel has become what it is, and it's still a mishmash. I called it Life Matters, the matters of life, for quite a long time, and now I just called it Music and More. But one of the things that I occasionally do is talk about politics or current affairs. And don't get me wrong, I've never had this desire to become a political commentator. There's so many other people out there who dedicate their lives to it, producing videos every day, if you like, or some deep analysis, 2-3 hour interviews and so on. I'm not in the business of that. I'm just trying to use the camera as something like a journal where I'm trying to thrash out my thoughts in my own mind and try and make sense of the world. And occasionally I'll trip over a video, or someone will remind me of a video I did a couple of years ago, and I look back on it and thought, oh, that's what I was thinking at the time, or that's what was going on at the time. Anyway, politics in 2025. Well, I haven't done a video on current affairs for the best part of a year now. And it's not because I'm kind of fearful. I suppose I am in a way about being fearful of kind of just, I wouldn't say saying the wrong thing, but just missing the point. And I think all of us from time to time, we question ourselves as, are we missing the point? Because right now in politics, it's just been a really, really strange year. You had the assassination attempt on Trump, and then his eventual re-election, as it were. And before that, we had the UK election where the Labour Party gained power after the Tories imploded, and people wanted to teach them a lesson. And we're now sitting in a position where we've got two Western allies, the UK and the USA, who have got political leaders of very, very different persuasions. And I don't really know what to make of it, because I guess I'm a populist, really. I'm a Democrat. It's not for me to tell anyone who they should vote for, who's the right party, which side are we on. That's not for me. I'm just trying to make sense of things. And so, but having said that, I've got friends and family members who are very, very vociferous in their support or hostility to one leader or government and another. And there was a famous quote, I've forgotten who the guy who wrote it or said it. But something along the lines that the people we must fear most in the world are the ones who are certain It's the ones who are uncertain are the ones that are likely to lead us to the path to kind of greater wisdom. And I'm struggling with some of my friends' opinions, and I'm not struggling with the friends. I'm just thinking they've kind of distilled their politics and their assessment of what's going on in the world down to which side are you on. And I've picked up on this theme some time ago, and it's just not me. It's just not me, and it's got to the point now where there's a couple of friends in particular. They won't even countenance legitimate questions, any form of pushback to their opinion. They are so wedded to their committed stance in support of this leader or that leader. And all those political discussions that we used to have and enjoy and disagree over sometimes, but mostly find agreement, those discussions are much harder to have with people now. And that's kind of made me sad, really. But it's also made it difficult for me to talk about politics, because I'm not afraid of upsetting friends. I'm just thinking, well, how do you make sense of the world where you've got Donald Trump, businessman, who has taken control of the White House again, brought people into his administration. On the face of it, I think some of them are good people. I do like Kennedy's stance on medical matters. I think he asked the right questions. I'm not sure he's got the right answers, but he certainly asked the right questions, and questions that weren't being asked some time ago. And or at least anybody who was asking those questions was receiving great hostility from people. And I don't like that, because the thing that's probably most important to me is free speech. And there's lots of talk these days about misinformation, and I kind of come to the conclusion that there is no such thing as misinformation. There's facts, there's truth, there's lies, and there's opinion. And the answer to misinformation or bad opinions is more information, more opinions, people pushing back, saying you got that wrong, here are the facts. So recalibrate what your understanding of the world is. That's kind of the world I want to live in. And yet I find that free speech is under threat. It's been under threat since probably forever, of course, but in 2020 we had great hostility to anybody who asked questions about lockdowns and so on. And you've literally had the situation where we find in the UK people have been literally put in jail because of opinions that they've expressed online. And we're not talking about incitement here, incitement to violence, which justifies the weight of the law being thrown upon people. But no, we're seeing people saying things that are deliberately being misunderstood, or there's another word for it, I can't remember just at this moment, but they are misrepresented perhaps, and the authorities or whoever is in the seat of the judge is taking the worst possible meaning of what someone may have said. And anyway, people have ended up in jail, which I think is absolutely disgraceful. I want to live and continue to live in a society where people can say just about anything, and on the basis that if they say the wrong thing, people will effectively push back and overwhelm their bad opinions and bad understanding of the world with something that is superior and more correct. So I'm really struggling at the minute. I don't really know what to make of the hostility people feel towards the governments in the US and in the UK. I can definitely see at a policy level there are mistakes being made, but also the mistakes were always being made. The previous administrations in the UK, the Tory party, just did terrible, terrible things over many, many years. And in the US, the previous administration, was a bit of a joke. I mean, whether you like it or not, you had a cadaver in the White House, and I remember having long discussions and arguments with great friends of mine about the mental decline of Joe Biden, and people refused to see it because their hostility to Trump was so great. And I feel vindicated, because by the time the election came round and he was eventually stood down in favour of Kamala Harris, it kind of rolled out as I expected it would. And although people criticise Trump, and there are 101 reasons why you want to criticise Trump, the Americans deal in a kind of binary system. You can't really draw any conclusions about the quality of one candidate or another without the context of who they were up against and the record of the administration that they were looking to usurp. And so Trump's opposition was weak. It was weak, so Trump got elected, and it with a landslide. And like I said earlier, I mean, I've got populist tendencies. I go with the majority. If people want change, let them have change, and I'll roll with it. It's 4 years, that's it. In the UK, it might be 5. So there's a bit different. It's a bit different in the UK. Let me just say, because we have we don't have a strictly two-party system in the way that they pretty much do in the United States. You've got the Liberal Democrats and the Greens and the Scottish National Party, who take big chunks out of majorities of the winning party in the UK Parliament. So we've ended up in a situation where you've got a Labour Party in charge under the leadership of Keir Starmer, gained less than 35 or 34% of the vote. And if you look at those are the people who voted. So 2/3 of the people who voted for other parties. And if you look at the electorate in total, the actual support for the Labour Party was only about 20%. So that's not a landslide. Even though that the numbers in Parliament made it look like a landslide, that's not a landslide. And so you've got this terrible situation that we haven't even had a year of the Starmer government now, and with such a low level of support, the hostility towards Starmer and his government is off the scale. And that was just demonstrated in the local elections here, where the Reform Party blew a hole in Labour's kind of electoral standing. So it's an absolute bloody mess, and I do want to talk about specific issues in current affairs, but I've been really struggling to try and make sense of things, and I've been poorly the last week or so I haven't made any videos for a couple of weeks. So one or two you might have noticed, but I've not abandoned the discussions about current affairs. It's just that I'm discombobulated, I think that's the word. It's been such a crazy, chaotic year, and I look around, and like I was saying before, I'm looking around for people who are asking the same questions that I have in my head, and I'm not seeing so many people to talk to about it. So I just thought I'd try and just vent a little here and just say, look, I want to talk about stuff like this. It is part of the mix in my channel. You know, I know if you subscribe to my channel and it's only about the music, that's fine. It's mostly about the music. It's absolutely true. But it's more of a video journal kind of thing for me. That's what the channel is for me. So anyway, I'm in Newcastle today, or strictly speaking, I'm on the south side of the river. In Gateshead. I'm going for a bit of a wander on this beautiful spring day. Saw Stephen Wilson at Newcastle City Hall last night, and he was brilliant. What a fantastic show. Might talk about that in another video, but I'm going to spend another day, or at least 2 days in Newcastle before I head home tomorrow. So anyway, thanks for indulging me. I'll see you next time.